Hi guys, and welcome to yet another Game of Thrones theory video. Probably sick of the sight of them by now, but let's discuss a few things. So this theory I just found, and it would be really interesting to think about it. So this theory states that Jeyne Westerling, who was the wife of Robb Stark in the books, is actually alive. Well, you know, she's alive and well, but that she's also pregnant and she's been hidden away, and eventually she's going to emerge with a Stark baby. Now, obviously in the show, we know that the Stark baby did not survive, because Talisa did not survive. She gone got stabbed in the baby parts. So instantly we know that there is no possible heir for Robb Stark in the TV show. However, in the books it is quite interesting, because Jeyne never goes to the twins. She doesn't go to the Red Wedding because she doesn't want to give any further insult to Walder Frey, which, that's a sensible girl. That is a very sensible woman. And so she stays back and she's just told of everything that's happened at the twins. And Tywin Lannister offers a pardon to the Westerling family so that there's no bad blood between them. And it is suggested that someone has paid Sybil Westerling, who is Jeyne's mother, to give Jeyne moon tea while she and Robb were trying to conceive. So pretty much the whole function of moon tea is to bring on abortions, to act as an abortive substance to bring on a miscarriage. So that's pretty much what is used to explain how Jeyne is not pregnant. However, there is a discrepancy that needs to be accounted for, and one could perceive that the Westerlings have majorly screwed over the Lannisters. When Jaime visits the Westerlings, he notices that Jeyne is a narrow-hipped girl. There's hardly anything of her. She's very narrow-hipped, she's quite boyish, which completely contradicts the way in which Catelyn describes Jeyne. She describes her as being quite wide-hipped. Now, the hips are bones, right? You're built a certain way. Your hip size does not change. So how has Jeyne gone from being wide-hipped to suddenly being very narrow-hipped? You want to know an explanation for this? Because it's not her. Now, the only way I can think that this might have happened is that another one of the Westerling sisters is being used as a decoy Jeyne. So it's being used to disguise the fact that Jeyne has been whisked away somewhere to give birth to a Stark baby. Because think of the amount of power that that child would have. That is the heir to the King of the North. It's the biological link. And the Northern Houses, because the Northern Houses are divided at this point in time, the whole Northern conspiracy rests on the conflict of who is Robb Stark's heir after the Red Wedding. Because, I mean, you've got his will and everything, but it's not realistic. It's not a pragmatic will, because he names Jon Snow. Now, Jon Snow, let's remind ourselves where he is currently. Where he was. Member of the Night's Watch. He's a sworn brother. He has no other family now, and Robb has named Jon as his next in line. Someone that didn't help when help was requested of him to march with Robb to go to King's Landing after the execution of Eddard Stark. He's a very noble... Jon Snow is a noble guy, and doing what would be required of him would require him to break his oath, which, you know, he kind of proposes to do after reading the Pink Letter, which is why he has to get stabbed in the organ parts. But so Jon Snow is a totally unrealistic heir. This child would be the direct bloodline, which at the current time you don't have, because according to all appearances, there are no more Starks. I mean, there's Sansa, but she's married to Ramsay Bolton now. So those who know that Rickon is alive will all be vying for him to become the Lord of Winterfell. But he's still only a baby. The show has aged him up a bit. In the show, he's literally about 3 or 4. And he's becoming increasingly more animalistic due to his walking into Shaggy Dog, who is his direwolf. So who else is there to be an heir? If Jeyne gives birth to a son, that is an heir, and the North will rally behind that baby, and they will defend the Westerlings. They will support this child. So think about the amount of power the Westerlings would have. I mean, a pardon's all well and good, but if you can fool the Lannisters, if you can get just enough time to make sure that this Stark Westerling baby is born, you have your key to the North. Why would you turn that up? So those are just a few of my thoughts on that theory, but I think the difference in descriptions is not actually an active choice that George R.R. Martin made. It was just a typo, I think, if I remember correctly when I looked on Reddit. He put it down, well, it was put down to just an error on George R.R. Martin's part, but I would like to kind of think that that was a hint that the Westerlings have screwed over the Lannisters, and that there's somewhere out there is the heir of Robb Stark, a baby Stark, so cute, but that baby Stark is King of the North. So I would find that really interesting, but I don't know how that will feed in, because in the show, obviously, the wife and baby are dead. Talisa and her unborn child are definitely dead, so there is no possibility of a Stark heir, whereas in the books we're kind of given that little glimmer of, oh, but was there? So I don't know, it's an intriguing thought to leave you with. So that has been the video for today, guys. Let me know what you think down below, and as always, see ya!